It's over. We're screwed. It's we had a good run, but I think it's time to call it quits. Let's just record the video. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Daniel, one half of the Kwak brothers. Now, this is part 3, the last and final video we'll be making on the Great Reset. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, the Great Reset is a proposition that calls all world leaders, countries, presidents, you name it, to pretty much unite and form one global economy. Now, if you guys like a more detailed definition on what the Great Reset is, feel free to go ahead and click on the link in the description below and watch the Great Reset part 2 video that we did a couple weeks back. But in this video, we're going to be talking about what changes can be made to the housing market and the housing economy en route to the Great Reset proposition. Now, guys, this is going to affect me, it's going to affect you, and it's going to affect everyone. Now, guys, as I mentioned in our Great Reset video part 2, real estate, in my opinion, is the most sustainable and most tangible asset that we can invest into. And well, if something like the Great Reset were to actually happen, and I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it's not, I believe that real estate will be the last thing standing in terms of what people will be able to invest into. And of course, time and time again, we've seen in history that real estate has worked out great, especially for those who know how to do it right. Now, speaking of doing it right, stick around to the end, guys, because for those of you guys that want to learn how to invest in real estate the right way and also take advantage of what's going to happen in 2021, we got a very special gift for you at the end. So go ahead and stick around to the end of the video. Now, it's no surprise that between a lot of things I've already said about the Great Reset in our YouTube videos, along with the research that I've done, and also the comment sections of those respective videos that we made on the Great Reset, that there's a lot of similarities being drawn up between what the Great Reset proposes and also the philosophy of communism. And well, my comrades, it's also no secret that under communism, private ownership of property, especially for the purposes of income producing, is a giant no-no. And well, you're most likely going to be subject to a work camp if you were caught doing so, or encourage other people or yourself to do the same thing. So having said that, let's all be rebels together by clicking like on this video and of course subscribing to our YouTube channel. Now, I'll be covering 3 things that I believe could potentially happen, starting from the most likely all the way to the craziest and most speculative parts, but still possible, about what could happen to the housing market and the housing economy under the Great Reset. Let's go ahead and start with number 1. Thank you, Daniel, 2 seconds ago at another camera angle. Number 1 is property taxes will most likely go up. Now, have you guys ever heard a politician talk on whether it be social media or on TV, and they're listing off all the great things they're going to do for the people? They're going to say, oh, we're going to do free this and free that. Have you ever just sat down on your couch or your chair and just ask yourself, how in the world are they going to pay for all this stuff? Now, guys, historically speaking, at the local and the state government level, whenever there's new initiatives or new projects that need to be done or anything that's proposed, typically the first primary way of funding it is to raise property taxes, which, by the way, affects all of us in some way, shape, or form. Now, maybe you're watching this video and you're saying, haha, you fool, Daniel. You have yet to see my final form. I am a renter, you see, and I am completely immune. Oh, crap. Well, this is where I take you guys to me sharing about my personal real estate portfolio. Now, guys, my brother and I have been very lucky, blessed, whatever word you want to use, to amass and control over 80 rental units. And if you guys actually look into the numbers on how that portfolio performs, typically across the board, you have 50% operational expenses, in which taxes account for about 1/5 of that, and about 30% is going to go towards debt service, mortgage payments, you name it. Now, keep in mind, there's also major repairs that need to happen for the building periodically. So let's go ahead and just use 10% of the rent that we collect averaged out over a long period of time. Now, if taxes were to increase a mere 3%, that would actually result in a 30% decrease in my cash flow and my cash reserves that I have for my buildings. And unfortunately, because I do a lot of my deals with investors, I would have no choice but to raise the rent. And I don't want to raise the rent, but in this case scenario, I would have to.
It's over 9,000! What, 9,000?
And to give you a real life example, let's go ahead and look at my hometown, my home city of Chicago. Between the year 2000 and 2020, a 20-year span, the city of Chicago has raised property taxes 115% in the last 20 years, marking it now to about $7 billion in revenue that just comes from property taxes. So in talking about the Great Reset and what's most likely going to happen, this is more than likely step number 1, which leads us to talk about the second thing that could possibly happen to the housing market if the Great Reset were to happen. And point number 2 is that banks may actually start calling notes due on properties with mortgages. Now, many may say that under the Great Reset, there actually may be no banks, right? There's no predatory lending, no banks charging astronomical interest to people, no amortization, and well, that all may seem great. Maybe it is, and maybe it isn't. Let me know your thoughts below. However, my belief is that it's going to be significantly much worse under the Great Reset. And that reality is not no banks. It's not 100 banks. It's actually just one bank. If you guys actually look back, right, we could look at the case study with the Soviet Union and their communist rule. There was actually one bank that was made available for everyone under Soviet rule, and that was the Bank. Now, guys, I'm not going to get into all the negatives that's associated with having one bank, aka monopoly, aka one financial institution having all the power over the people as opposed to allowing financial institutions to actually compete and have a free and flowing market. I'm not going to get into all that, but remember the trade-off with the Great Reset is that you will have zero debt. All your debts will be canceled. But on the other hand of the spectrum, we're going to be throwing the baby out with the bathwater, which is that we will not be allowed to own anything. We'll have no personal sovereignty. And ultimately, we will be owned ourselves because whoever controls our debt ultimately controls us. And we'll think for a second here how much of our debt is owned by the banking system, whether it be the mortgages on our house, whether it be cars, whether it be rental properties, whether it be student loans. Think about how much of it is owned by the banking system, which again is why we're so passionate here at the Kwak Brothers at helping people pay off their mortgages significantly sooner. Specifically, paying off a 30-year mortgage in 5 to 7 years. It's possible, guys. Go ahead and check out our video. Now this leads me to point number 3. And guys, point number 3 is going to be a little far-fetched. You guys might think that Daniel is wearing some tinfoil hats in his free time and that he's gone absolutely berserk, right? But hear me out here, guys. Point number 3 is that the Federal Reserve could actually end up getting into real estate ownership. Now, no one could have ever imagined this when the Fed first came to creation on December 23rd, 1913. By the way, happy early birthday, Fed. However, I think we could all agree that in the last 50 years, the Fed has become more and more powerful, and it's now at the point where it's one of the most powerful entities in the world. Now, let's look at just the last 15 years, because in the last 15 years, I don't know about you, but it's kind of gotten scary. Let's go ahead and break this down. On November 25th, 2008, in the height of the financial crisis, the Federal Reserve announced that it would begin purchasing up to $100 billion in agency debt and up to $500 billion in agency mortgage-backed securities. This year, guys, 2020, June, the Fed started buying up corporate bonds. And as of September of this year, guys, 2020, the year you're watching this video, the Federal Reserve became the world's largest investor, owning 22,913 different securities with over $7 trillion in their bank account. So disregard guys like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, Ray Dalio, Bill Ackman, and Benjamin Graham, and all these great investors who have, accumulated their entire lives to becoming investing legends. The Federal Reserve did all of that in the blink of an eye and has become the world's largest investor. Now, if the Fed can do this with securities and become the world's largest investor, what makes us think they can't do the same thing with real estate and home ownership, owning apartment complexes, retail? What makes us think that they can't do the same thing? Now, maybe they will get into real estate, maybe they won't, but either way, I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think they'll make that transition? Yes or no? I want to hear your thoughts. Now, for those guys that are still here who have stuck around, congratulations, we're at the end of the video. Now, guys, as you may or may not know, my brother and I have been promoting our book 0 to 75 units in 1 year. We've been promoting it for months now. And guys, the book is completely free, but of course, you guys have had to pay for shipping. Well, this being December, we wanted to do something very special for you guys watching and also our subscriber base who have been really awesome, who have been amazing this year in 2020 and given us a lot of support. We want to do something very special. So we're going to pick 3 lucky winners to win this book. It's going to be a signed copy. We will take care of shipping. And there may or may not be a really cool gift once you open the first page of this book. It might be an Amazon gift card. Who knows? It might be keys to a brand new Tesla. I don't know. You guys are going to have to find out. Now, the way you guys enter is subscribe to our YouTube channel and also email us at info@thekwakbrothers.com. That email will be linked in the description with the subject line 0 to 75 contest, right? 0 to 75 contest. Now, guys, if you want to get extra fancy and you want to put in a little bonus, include in the email what your goals are for 2021, whether it's real estate investing related or not. We might be able to help. So again, guys, subscribe to our channel, email us at info@thekwakbrothers with the subject line 0 to 75 contest. And of course, guys, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to share. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you guys in the next one.